We're going to talk today, which is Tuesday, November the 11th. It's a very important day because it's a veteran day today. The bond market is closed. We're going to talk about art. So you guys know who's Steve Alain Lawrence. He's a common guest in our shows. He's the CIO, Chief Investment Officer of Balfour Capital Group. And we're bringing Simon Sabatier, who's a young guy. He's part of the Sabatier family. And I can say the third, head of the third generational part of the family that is a pretty well-known art dealer in Germany. So I'm going to start with Steve because of the seniority. Steve, you can tell us a little bit what do you think is important or the important aspect that we might cover today with regards of art, NFT, tokenization, and innovation. And thank you for coming.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me here. And I'm going to really, delineate this in a very direct way. The art world is about value, but also about history. When you have the authenticity like the Sabatier family has, who've been in the business since the 1960s, you're going to see world-class high net worth art that truly understands the industry. And this third generation coming in, Simon, in bridging technology with authenticity. And that's why Balfour is assisting in underwriting an electronic digitized token for the Sabatier family in conjunction with Simon's vision.
Listen, Simon, now turning to you. Apparently, your name, I think, as you mentioned it off the record, has been associated with a great traditional brand name in art, mostly in Germany, but I'm assuming it's in other places in Europe as well. So, what do you think that legacy is innovating today into the digitalization of important assets, in this case, the art, the tokenization? If you can give us some sort of a elevator pitch of where you're seeing that and you're a young person, it would be great because that's where the market is going to, the digitalization of every single asset. And now the art is part of the equation. And thank you for coming, Simon.
Yeah, thank you. Absolutely. So the simple answer is because there's no other choice. We are seeing now that everything is moving in the digital world, and art exists for so many centuries already, and it is the storage of value. But what we didn't have until now is ownership in the digital world. Yeah, so this is the first time in history now with blockchain and this technology that you can guarantee ownership in the digital world. So the perfect match is to combine art, good art, with ownership in the digital world, because this is also not my choice. It's not our choice that we are moving into this world of digital life, and this is the Sam Altmans, the Zuckerbergs that make this decision, and we need to provide good products.
Excellent. And listen, the question, I don't know if you, Steve, or you, Simon, want to jump into, but I think it's important with the innovation that you guys are basically putting together. What do you think it will be the, let's say, the role of the typical museums, family offices that are interested in all these, and also auction houses? Because I think in all this part is interesting specifically how the big and traditional players are acting with the mix of the digitalization of the assets.
I'll tackle that first, and then Simon will tackle it. Okay. It's very simple, but yet complex. The simplicity is as follows. We all know that anyone who has high net worth needs to make sure they're dealing with a reputable institution, period, end of story. And when you have the history of the Sabatier family, that's truly global. All right. So I can assure you that they have sold very substantial pieces of art on a very anonymous basis that goes through a plethora of authenticity, AML, KYC. When you look at the value of what they've brought to the world over the last 40, 50 years. All right. And the legacy is just going forward. And we're seeing that in value just in the market. Any investor wants to know what they're buying and can control it and say they actually own it like the deed of their house. They can hold it and they can feel it. And with Simon's vision and the Sabatier's vision, and we have a big event coming up in Berlin, and that Simon will go over. I'll assure you that this is not only the future. Okay, this is just the beginning of where we're going to see it go in the entire art world, in my humble opinion.
Simon, question
Yeah,
for
yeah.
you. You guys called both together, and I was reading a nice white paper that you guys prepare specifically about, the stage of the art industry and the, commingling with the digitalization. But you mentioned something that captured my attention. I think is the name of the new lithography or something like that. That is seems to be a great term. And I don't know if you, Simon, can tell us a little bit about specifically that part. That is a powerful statement for me, and obviously I think is the beginning of the NFTs that is actually taking place over the whole art industry place.
Well, yes. So why we use the term lithography is because you can apply the system. Okay, so you have the original art piece, and you recreate it digitally. Okay, so for us and for our NFT collection, we created a digital extension of an already existing oeuvre. Yeah, this is pretty unique, and let me tell you this: we haven't seen a very mature market yet with NFTs, and now it's the time to step in and to mature and to provide a very good product. So why I mentioned lithograph, it's basically because a lithograph has been the collectible of the original art piece. The artist could recreate it on a stone plate several times. And with the ERC 1155 Ethereum blockchain, this works in a similar way. And I guess this is going to be the future also for art.
Excellent. So listen, now to wrap up and close, Steve, and I'm gonna leave Sabatier, Simon, to tell us the last statement. But before that, to you, there is something extremely important, Steve, which is the fractional ownership, which means you are opening this and you are a pioneer among other players, don't get me wrong, in all this process where the small middle class families here and there can actually get a piece of the art. So if you can tell us a little bit the level of innovation that we want to see in the next incoming quarters or years, that would be great, because at the end of the day, a lot of things happens here, as you know, in the Florida New York Stock Exchange. Soon, equities and other important, actually financial vehicles will be tokenized. But I think it's important that step that you guys are taking into that. So that a fractional ownership is important. What do you have to tell us about that, Steve, please?
Well, I mean, when you look at true titans in the industry in alternative investments, okay. For example, there's a young lady by the name of Catalina Castro, and she has a tremendous understanding of alternative investments, all right, on a global basis. And what you're going to see is that the philosophy that she's actually had is really truly being, deployed globally, okay, and proven, all right, through a strategy of the Sabatier family. That's what you're going to see.
Listen, very happy. Well, we finished the interview with the words of the youngest member of this interview, the new generational kind of guys that are taking over the world. And I'm very happy for that, Simon, because I have kids probably close to your age. So if you can give us a kind of a wrap up messaging to the Spanish speaking community, when they will see, that would be great. Because at the end of the day, it's a pretty important aspect, all that is happening on art. And thank you for being with us.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we're moving forward in the art world, and blockchain is key.
And art has no boundaries.
It has no boundaries.
No boundaries. Okay?
Well, listen, we're here, as you can see, guys, at the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. Today, again, is a veteran day. Seems to be a little quiet. We're waiting for volatility. But if you want to know how you can uncorrelate or place some sort of investment in what is called an uncorrelated assets, We got here Steve Alain Lawrence from Balfour Capital Group and Simon Sabatier from the Sabatier family. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you, Simon. Thank you, Steve. We'll get back to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.